You are listening to The Underground Subway with host David Alston, a podcast dedicated to giving you the strategies to live a free and better life. Here is David Alston.
Hi, I'm David Alston, and welcome to the Underground Subway. I want to thank you for joining this podcast, which is dedicated to one thing, giving you the strategies, the tools, anything that you need, whether it's material, emotional support, whatever it takes. We are dedicated to giving it to you so that you can live a better life, so that you can live a life that is purposeful, a life that is dedicated to freedom and liberty. What is liberty? Liberty is the ability to think, to function, to act. Everything about you has to be without restraints. And that's what liberty is, being able to function without restraints. And what this podcast does is it offers you the strategies necessary to live a better life. Like Harriet Tubman led the Underground Railroad. She led so many that were in bondage to freedom. We, in the 21st century, are helping you to release the chains of yesterday and to go boldly into a brighter future, a brighter world, not just yourself. If you've ever heard or read or seen any movies or read anything about Harriet Tubman, she didn't just lead one person to liberty, she led the entire family to liberty. We don't want to be released from the pains of yesterday and walk into a brighter tomorrow by ourselves. We want our children. I don't want to just be free. I want my children, my grandchildren, my cousins, my aunts, everyone. I want my friends, my next door neighbors. I want the entire community to be free. So this podcast is dedicated to that. And I thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to enjoy another episode of the Underground Subway. My friends, as always, I have a special guest with us, and my guest is going to talk to us and give us the strategies that she has experienced in life that will help us to become better individuals in this particular time. My guest is simply a powerhouse. My guest is a tremendous individual. Let me explain who she is. Her name is Debby Krusz, and let me tell you a little bit about Debby. After being dream crushed by corporate America, Debby listened to the voice within her that said, quote, "Leave this place and start winning." Start writing. I threw that in by mistake, but it's actually the truth. The voice said start writing, but Debby started winning. The voice said, leave this place and start writing. And so what Debby Krusz did, also what she did was she took her life and she reformed it, and she is the publisher. She is a published author of Soul Meets Body, Precious and Fragile Things, and Live to Tell. Her fourth novel, entitled Date with Kate, is in process. All of her novels are about following your heart. In addition to her novels, she has an inspirational blog. She is a certified dream manager coach and business consultant. She is a survivor of crushed dreams and an expert in dream rescue. In your dream is a long buried seed or a squash bud. She's here to help you replant it, nurture it, and bring it to full bloom. Her program is ideal for employers who want to make an investment in the employees by making them the most successful version of themselves. Your employee morale will rise, productivity will increase, and turnover will decrease as a result of this dream pollination. Her program is a great fit for businesses of any size. Debby is building her business and brand, helping others listen to their heart and pursue their dreams. That was a lot. It was powerful. It was great. I want you all to help me welcome to the Underground Subway, Debby Krusz. Debby, thank you so much for joining the Underground Subway.
Oh, thank you so much, David, for having me. I'm going to have you introduce me everywhere I go. I'm going to bring you with me everywhere. You're fabulous.
I was so impressed with it. I got hung up on it. I said, wow, I'm saying, well, amazed. I'm amazed. Well, thank you for joining us, Debby. One of the things in your bio talked about that you were crushed. Talk to us. What crushed you? You know, a lot of people will say, well, oh, I've been through a lot, or I struggled, or I've been crushed. What actually crushed you?
I think myself, I think it starts with your ego that tells you what you need and what you want. People around you that can't see your true potential, and it's not their fault. It's if you can't see it for yourself, how can other people see that light that's shining within you? So if people can't relate to what your divine purpose is, especially when you're younger, I think that's the hardest part is being young and you're like, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be president of the
Mm-hmm.
United States. I want to be a policeman. I want to be a dancer. I want to be a chef. If
Mm-hmm.
nobody can relate to what you're feeling, they automatically crush you of, no, you can't. Oh, no, you don't want to do that. Oh, no, 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 no,
Exactly.
no. And those dreams and that repetition of the no repeats so much in your head, you just convince yourself that you are wrong. And you get dream crushed by people around you, and you start to tell yourself. And when you start believing it, that's when you really are crushed of,
Wow.
I made this one mistake once, and that can never happen for me. I don't have this. I didn't grow up in the right area. Oh, this isn't what my family does. I don't know how to do it. I don't have the money. We look and grab for things around us as excuses of why we can't. And I think society gives that to us. And once you take a look at who you are and really center inside of yourself and find those dreams and dig into those layers and realize there is truth in there, it just needs to
Mm-hmm.
be let out. And you
Right.
let go of all those material things and voices and negativity and really just let that part of you shine from within. It's amazing what happens and how the divine spirit makes sure that it paves a way to make it happen for you. You just need to identify it and own it.
Mm-hmm. So what happened? Let's go back to the beginning of your bio when you said that you were actually working in corporate America and you heard that voice that said, leave this place and start writing. I said winning,
Yes.
start writing. What happened? Explain to us that scenario and what happened with that.
Well, I like it start winning. I love that. No coincidence on that. Well, I was told, you went to college, and my college was either you're going to graduate as an accountant or a school teacher. And I was like, I don't want to be either one. So I went into operations. Graduated on a Saturday. I went to my first job on a Monday. And every level, started as an account executive, and every level I'm like, I don't feel good here. This doesn't feel right. This isn't where I want to be. So
Mm-hmm.
I worked my way up the ladder because that's what I was told was the dream. And I got my way up all to a C-level employee. And I say employee because it felt just as much of a piece of cattle as any place else.
Mm-hmm.
And it was miserable. It was the worst job I ever had. The money didn't mean anything to me. It just felt disgusting to me. There are many things that happened there that I, don't need to recap, but it was horrible. And I just said, God, this is really not it. And I'm at the top, and I don't know where I'm supposed to go. Where am I supposed to be? Help me. And I was writing. I was on my laptop, and I was just putting something together, and I started to jot down some notes, and I had a whole storyline in my head. And God just said, I want you to write. I want you to write this story. Just whatever it is, write it. And I want you to leave this job, and I'm going to take care of everything. And I'm sure he's sent me the message a million times in a million different directions. And I didn't listen. And I was like, I have no choice. It's not that I don't have a choice. Don't know what else to do. And my choice is to listen to God, because I know there were other times that I didn't, and he was leading me in the right direction. So this time I'm going to do it. And I left, and I wrote 3 books in 9 months. And everybody that's picked up my book has always had something positive and wonderful to take away from it, and just enjoys it. And everyone keeps asking me when my next book is coming out. So I hope that my blog sometimes will give people a little peace until the next novel comes out. But I realized that through that, writing was my expression of how to get out my feelings and my journey of how I am loved and supported. And I didn't see that when I was writing it. And helped me realize that I could see potential in every person that I touch. And that was what I learned through my whole corporate journey of evaluating what I actually loved and enjoyed, and what that part of me that won't go away. And it was seeing employees for their value, for who they are when they were in the wrong job, and just wanting them to be at their full potential. So I wrote many programs at my corporate jobs to do just that, to build people to their potential, to put them in the right places, to let them know they're appreciated, to let them know they're part of the bigger picture. And you really see that you as an individual has extreme value to be here. And I want to make sure you're in the right place and you're happy and you're being fulfilled by that. And if it's not here, I want to help you find it wherever else it is. So writing was just like a first piece, and it's just evolving into so many different directions of helping people. And I couldn't be happier.
In the movie Philadelphia, and I love the title because that's my hometown, Denzel Washington was an attorney, and he asked a witness a question, and he said to the witness, "Now explain it to me like I'm a 6-year-old." So I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to explain it to me like I'm a 6-year-old. How am I on my job working, hear this little voice that says, you need to leave this place and start writing? 99 out of 100 people will say, I can't just leave the job. I've got bills to pay. I've got, I need an income. Explain it to me like I'm a 6-year-old. How do I just walk off of my job and just go start writing and doing something with no income? I hope you understand my question.
Totally. And that's the first thing I address. I hope that I could put it in 6-year-old terms. Is yes, that sounds radical and wild. And, it wasn't an overnight, like, I'm out of here, and just threw all my paperwork in the air and ran away.
I'm glad you said
yes,
that, because, that's what it seems like. I heard a voice say, leave this job and start writing. So I left the job and I started writing. That's what it sounds like. You just said, holla.
It felt like it, but no, it was longer than that. It was a lot of evaluation of, if I leave, what am I leaving behind? Anxiety, threats, not being myself, being the worst version of myself, bringing all that negativity home to my family and to my friends. My health was at risk because I was like just eating as much crap as I could and coming home and having like more than one glass of wine. And, all those things deteriorate who you are. And that takes you further away from your divine purpose and further away from God. And all of that just crushes you. And, the people get stuck in that place. And they grab for these things to keep them alive when it's hurting them. And I was like, I'm keeping myself alive on negativity. Like, this doesn't work. So yes, I won't have the money, but at the same time, I have the true version of myself, and there's no price tag on that. So, we had a plan, we did it very amicably of what, time frame and what happened. I made sure that I had a few months worth of funds to take care of myself.
Okay.
And a cushion and a plan. So yes, it usually never works out the way you're like, this, I'm going to have A on Monday and B on Tuesday. It starts at like Q and then it goes back to B and C, and it's all over. But if you write it out and you have a plan and it feels good, you just trust that that plan will take you to all the right places. If it's the right thing and your heart feels good about it, it's your truth. But if your heart's like, this does not feel good, I don't like this, I feel uncomfortable and just unhappy, then it's not your truth. But what I do go through with my clients is that's the first thing, is to make money stands in front of everybody first and foremost. Even if there's a million other ailments and walls, money is like the dead hard stop on almost everything. And once you're like, okay, this belongs to me, I'm going to figure it out. And you put a plan together, and I work with them on how they can budget it. I have a huge resource network of trusted financial advisors, banks, debt consolidators, any kind of resource you need. I have a very trusted list of them, get you in front of all these people and find what is the right thing for you. Make sure that you're building a budget plan so that you do have that comfort that you need. And one thing that you learn through this process is if you can't save money when you're broke, when you're rich, you're not going to be able to save
I
money.
agree. I agree.
You're going to fall right back, because people think that money is, oh, I'm going to leave my dream. That means I'm going to be rich and I'm going to live in a mansion in Bel Air and have these fancy cars.
Mm-hmm.
Money is not going to always be your answer. Abundance is going to come when your heart is fulfilled. And money doesn't go with you, but when you have connections and when you have love and when you have those things, those are the things that'll travel with you from this life to the next. Money is just numbers on a piece of paper, and it's very upsetting. So when you have that understanding of, yeah, I don't know why my dream is to take a job that's lesser and that's crazy, but it's not crazy. It's your dream. Who cares what everybody else says? It's your dream. It's not crazy. Let's put you in the right place so it feels good.
Question for you, Debbie. When you're going through all this, when I say when you're going through, I'm trying to relive what you went through. When you're going through this moment of walk away from this place and start writing, you're going through this transition where you're going through your plan, you're going through storing up and making sure that everything. Talk to us about whether you had, if you did have, how strong and what type of support system you had.
That's a great question, because that's the dream crushing 101 thing that I address is, we'll have this chat, there'll be people that'll listen to your podcast and they're gonna be like, yeah, I'm going to leave my job and I'm going to go back to school and I'm going to work on this job. And they get all hyped up and excited. And then I say to them, who is the first person you're going to go home and is going to crush it automatically?
Wow.
Because once again, if you can't, people can't define what is your true purpose and who you truly are until you can see it. They can't see it. They can see what they relate to. Where it's like, this is your job. This is what you do. Why? Who is this crazy person you just spoke to? Like, no, stop. This is crazy. And there's also a fear factor for people around you of, what does this change for me? Because sometimes it's a change for them of, let's just say you're in a bad relationship and it should have ended years ago, but this person's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go travel to Italy and I'm going to go to school and I'm going to be a foodie and, do a travel blog, and then this person's like, where does that put me? Now I have to get a job. Now I have to do this. Like, where do I fit in this plan? I don't know that was the greatest example, but people get scared of their cage being rattled because you are leaving the status quo. So you're basically saying to yourself, this status quo does not work for me. I'm ready to level up. And instantly when you make that decision of I'm ready to level up, you're a little separated from that status quo person. So you're leveled up, and people are not ready for that. Because you're ready for it doesn't mean everybody around you is
ready.
Yeah. And that's hard. It's a little bit of a battle, but at the same time, it's a conditioning factor of, I know how this sounds, but I'm going to explore it and I'm going to see what it looks like. And I'm going to make sure that I'm making all the right steps before I take that leap. And I want you to be on this process with me. I want you to be on this journey with me. Because if I'm following my divine purpose and I'm my true self, in the process, all this positivity of energy is going to be around me, and you're going to be around me, and you're going to find your defined purpose and your journey, and we're going to do it together.
Well,
So
right.
this
Well,
is
let me ask you, I hate to interrupt you, but I want to
no,
ask, because what you're saying is very interesting, because we've always been told that when it comes time to going after your dreams, pursuing your dreams, starting that journey, that you have to get away from negative people, don't deal with negative people. But what you're saying sounds as if you're saying that when it's time to go after the dreams, we should expect negative people to be there to try to kill the dreams. Am I reading you correctly?
yeah, you want to be prepared for every step of the way, right? So the
Mhm.
first step is going to be the first roadblock. So let's be honest, not every single person is going to be super excited that you randomly out of nowhere are like, I'm going to do this and it's going to like make our lives crazy and it's going to disrupt everything. And not every single dream is going to do that, but there's going to be some sort of disruption, right?
Right.
And so it's like, okay, you're building your team, and it doesn't mean get rid of people. It doesn't mean get rid of people. You're building your team for this journey. And it's not saying like if your spouse or your parent or your child is not on board, get rid of them. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying those people are not on this part of the team. And that's okay. That doesn't mean get rid of them. It means this is how they feel, respect how they feel. Just because you're ready doesn't mean they're ready. Respect them. But no, that's not going to be the first, when you need help and when you need support, that's not going to be the first person you're going to go to.
Right.
So you're building your team, you're inviting people to be on this journey, and you will be surprised who jumps on your train. Now, I learned this from teaching fundraising. I ran a missionary program for a few years, and I did a whole thing about fundraising. And the number one thing that I learned and what I teach is don't make decisions for people. Don't be like, oh, they're broke, they're going through, oh, don't ask them for money. It's never a good time to ask people for money, which means it's never a good time to get people interested in your dreams. It's really not comfortable, but you know what? If you don't ask, you don't know. And you will be surprised who will jump on your journey. So the question, we ask is, okay, I'm joining this missionary program. Also, I'm joining this dream, and I want you to be on my team. I want you to be with me on this. So for fundraising, it's like, I'm going to ask you, can you donate so and so amount of dollars? When I'm on my dream, I'm not asking you for that. I'm just saying, I want you on my team. So when I need support, I know I can call you, and I know I can lean on you. So same concept, same push through. And there's people that are going to say yes. In fundraising, the statistic is like 80% of people that are like, I have no money, I'm making ends meet. They're like, I'm going to give you this much every month. You'd be shocked. Because
Wow.
if so don't decide who's going to be on your, don't decide that beforehand. I mean, have an idea,
Mhm.
but don't decide that. Let it be their choice and decision. Because if you make the choice and decision for them, that's where you're going to create another roadblock.
Okay. Now you mentioned that roadblock. I want to, and I'm not sure whether or not you were going to bring this up as a roadblock, but I'll bring it up as a roadblock that I think we run into when pursuing our dreams. Uh, there's an old adage that I heard years ago that said that the greatest enemy is enemy. The greatest enemy is enemy, which means that I can often be my worst enemy or roadblock. What would you say to that person, or should we deal with the roadblock of personal fear? I want to do this. I really want this dream. I can see it right here, but I'm a little bit hesitant or afraid because of my past failures, even though just because I failed doesn't mean that I'm a failure. But my past failures have me a little fearful of pursuing my dreams. What do you say to me?
Oh, well, I mean, every single person has that. That happens to every single person. Majority of it is ego. Majority of it is also PTSD of this happened to me before, it's going to happen to me again, or I'm not going down that avenue again. And you really have to work on that. And not everybody's time frame or how they deal with it is the same. What I do have people do is a prayer meditation about fear and really identifying what it looks like, what it feels like, how conversations with it, and be able to give it gratitude and just to say, thank you for being here with me, but I no longer need you. You no longer serve me, so you have to leave.
Mhm.
And again, it may not happen in one meditation, but when I did this, I saw my fear as this tiny little, most adorable creature, like kind of like a cute sloth kind of a thing, just clinging with claws on my heart. And I was like, why are you here? What do you know? Why are you here? What are you doing? And the fear said in the cutest voice, I don't know anything else. I don't know any better. And if you leave me, I don't know what's going to happen to me. And having deeper conversation to be able to put this little thing in my hand and hand it to God and say, you're in good hands. And I wish you nothing but love and everything. And when I tell you every day after that, I would go into prayer and be like, God, how's he doing? Is he okay? He's like, I thought you gave it to me.
Right. Why are
Listen,
you working?
you're
Right.
supposed to let him go. You can't
Right.
come back looking for him.
Well, you said that part of it is you said that part of it is ego. Explain that. What do you mean by part of my fear would be ego?
I think what it really means is these layers of walls, and it's layers of what other people tell you you should be. It's what society tells you you should be. It's a lot of those negativity that pushes you down.
Mhm.
And it's, people that are like, well, I'll only look good if I'm wearing Gucci and Prada or all these designer labels. It's like, well, you didn't come here with those clothes on.
Right.
So,
Right.
you're not going to leave with them either.
Right.
If you're not comfortable in your own skin and what you look like, then
Mhm.
you're going to have trouble. You're going to rely on those things and they're not part of you. So you have to unleash all these layers of the onion and get to that core piece of yourself. And you have to love that pure self and say no to those voices that are telling you you need things that you don't need, that don't
Mhm.
come from within. You don't need them.
So do you recommend you recommend spending time in meditation where we're just having a conversation with ourselves, telling ourselves positive things?
Yeah. Yeah, I actually, a few clients, I'm going to talk about one in particular where she just was in that deep depression of, I don't know how I got here. Just the anxiety was so high,
Mhm.
and she just was anxious all day. And she had a huge fear that she couldn't identify. So I told her, I think you need to go on a date with your fear. It was during COVID, so going to a restaurant was not like the most ideal thing or available. So I was like, dress up your living room, lights,
Mhm.
candles, make a really nice dinner, have a glass of wine, and just sit and put what your fear looks like in front of you and ask it, like, why are you here? Why are you attached to me? Why are you such a part of me?
Mhm.
And she couldn't get through the first few minutes. She just started a huge breakdown crying because she just had such a relationship with this fear and she didn't know how to let go of it. And it was just old, and it was old feelings, old situations, this happened to me, so I can't have good, and people that were just so negative to her. And once she was able to really identify that, it took her a few days because it was just an emotional breakdown that she really needed. She was able to build a plan of what serves me and what doesn't serve me. And yes, there's people in your life that you just can't walk away from, but to know how to enjoy the time with them, but then put them in with a little bit of distance, that they're not in your way of your path to succeed. Where, not in that front path of negativity to crush you every time you try to move forward.
Right.
And to recognize those triggers and to recognize the conversations you need to have. And it can be a lot of role playing with yourself or with somebody to get there, because a lot of people can be like very empowering over you, and a lot of gaslighting too, because of their own insecurities.
Right. Okay.
So there's a lot of work that can be done to really identify and be able to handle those situations that are huge roadblocks that do empower you, because you're taking back your own power and really coming from your heart, not coming from a place of negativity, coming from your heart and your center of, listen, I love you, but I can't hang out with you this weekend because I need to work on myself, because I'm going back to school and I need to study, those kinds of things, of nourish it and just be like, I'd love to talk to you about that.
Right.
So the next time we meet up, I'd love to talk to you about that. And I'd love to tell you about my journey. I'd love you to be on it. And so you nourish those relationships that way.
Okay. Well, we're running out of time. Time flies when you're having fun. Tell us how we can access any material that you have, or how anyone may want to contact you or grab your book.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. You can find me on my website, which is debbykrusz.com, DEBBYKRUSZ.com. My social media handle is the same, at Debby Krusz. I would love to offer your audience a free 15-minute one-on-one consultation. And I would also love to offer your audience a free ebook download of my last novel, Soul Meets Body.
Okay. Wow. Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, we will definitely promote that, and I want to grab my copy as well. Well, thank you. Thank you, Debbie, for joining us. We really appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule to join us here on the Underground Subway. And hopefully we can get together and chat again real soon.
I would love that. Thank you so much.
To everyone listening, we thank you for joining the Underground Subway. It means a lot. We definitely don't take it for granted that you have taken time out of your schedule to listen to this podcast. And I'm not going to say hopefully, I know that it has inspired you and given you another tool that we need to live a better life. Pursue your dreams, work your plan, and plan your work. Work it. Sit down and develop a strategy. If you need help, if you need a coach, Debby Krusz has already told you she'll help you get there. And I believe that you're going to get there, not just you, but the entire family. Well, our time is up here on the Underground Subway. We got to let you off. This is your stop. But before you get off, I want to challenge you tonight before you go to bed. I challenge you to find a mirror somewhere in your house. Look yourself in the face. Look yourself right in the eyeball to eyeball. And I want to challenge you to talk to yourself and ask yourself this question before you go to bed tonight. Today, did I do something to pursue and live my dreams? Or did I waste another day? Think about that. We don't have any time to waste. It's time to pursue your dreams. I'll talk to you next time right here on the Underground Subway.